Carolyn Ballard.
Join the meeting.
Let's, are you proxying for Santiago?
Good morning. Yes, we're here with City of Tolleson. Santiago is no longer with us. So I'm here with our whole department, including the CAP office.
So who will be the proxy for Santiago?
George Good.
George,
He's our new Human Services Director.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Got quorum here. Good morning, members of the Elderly and Persons with Disabilities Committee. This meeting is now called to order. Before we begin, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your participation. Your time and expertise are appreciated for this very lengthy process. For those around the table, which would include, I guess, just me, I got to make sure I keep my microphone on when speaking this time. For those participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. So the MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you'd like to comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form. MAG staff can assist you with any questions you may have. If I parked in the garage, a validation stamp is available for me. And if I purchased a transit ticket to come to this meeting, I would see staff for a ticket. So hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. So now we will begin with the meeting with a roll call of the members.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. When I read your name, if you can say here. Nina Arredondo.
Here.
Thank you. Carolyn Ballard.
Here.
Thank you. Chart. David Calloway.
Good morning, here.
Thank you. And we have George Good as a proxy for Santiago.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Seth Dyson was not able to make it. Joan Freeman.
Here.
Thank you. Nancy Jackson.
Present.
Thank you. Lindsay Post.
Here.
Thank you. Stephanie Rangel.
Here.
Thank you. Justin Sheldon. Justin.
Good morning, present.
Thank you. Nathan Williams. Nathan Williams. I did receive notice he will not be here today. Is there anybody that I missed?
This is Dan. This is Dan Smoller.
Andrew? You heard Andrew.
Yep.
We do have quorum. Thank you.
And you got Dan Smoller.
And Dan Smolder, please. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Andrew. All right. Our next item is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, informational items, or items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience unless the chair requests an exception to this limit. We have received no request to speak for call to the audience app.
That is correct. We received no comment, no
Right.
request to speak.
All right. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. Have we received any online written comments for call to the audience?
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. We have received no comments.
Right. Seeing that, we will move on to agenda item number 3, which is the MAG staff report. This item is on the agenda for information and was presented by Dee Dee, the MAG Human Services Transportation Program Manager. Take it away, Dee Dee.
Okay, thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I'm happy to report and sad to report that Lauren Marshall here today has taken a new position here at MAG. We wish her well. She will be working with Patrick Stone, our Transportation Programming Director, and working on the RSTIP, which is her assistance will be greatly needed. And I'm sure all of the member agencies will be very happy that he is getting some assistance with that. So we would like to thank Lauren for all of the work that she's done on this program, and I'm very proud that she is being promoted. So thank you. I would also like to say this is our first EPDT ad hoc, committee hybrid meeting. So thank you for Chair for being here today. We appreciate you here. I also wanted to provide an update on the Human Services best practice peer review that I had noted at the last meeting. We are now moving forward on our peer agency of best practices of other similar MPOs and how they are doing the process for this program. Paramix is our consultant. They have identified 6 peer agencies that we will be doing agency interviews with. They are Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization from Texas, Atlanta Regional Commission, ARC, Community Planning Association of Southwest Idaho, Denver Regional Council of Governments in Colorado, Houston Galveston Area Council, and Puget Sound Regional Council from Oregon. We will keep you updated on the process. We are at the point of making contact with these peer agencies and setting up interviews, which will take place in the next couple of weeks. If I will be the point of contact regarding any further updates of our peer literature review, and if you have any questions. Okay. And last week, I would like to state that I sat on the Grants Professional Association panel with state and other federal funders to provide information on our regional Section 5310 program to over 40 grant writers. This was a great opportunity. We appreciate the invitation to sit on these panels. We were able to provide one-on-one information regarding the regional Section 5310 program. We were also able to answer any questions that the grant writers had regarding this. A lot of the questions are pretty standard that we receive from any agency inquiring about our grant program, and their hesitancy of nonprofit agencies to apply for an FTA, Section 5310 program, and what are the requirements and compliancy measures. So I provided some information, let them know that the City of Phoenix and MAG do provide support for those agencies. We do understand that a lot of nonprofit agencies, this may be their only federal grant that they are applying for, and we do provide support and information and all the requirements once you receive this information. Once received are awarded. The other question that I heard, which is similar to even our own agencies that have applied, is the stability of the funding. We did let them know that this is under the bigger transportation grant program, and that under the Bills Act, which is good for another 2 years, and that we are keeping, MAG is keeping updated on any legislative changes. So it was a good turnout. We did get a couple of agencies interested in applying next year, and we strongly encourage them to reach out to myself or the City of Phoenix for other assistance. This concludes my staff update.
All right, thank you very much. So we will then move on to item number 4, approval of the January 8th, 2025 meeting minutes. Does any member of the committee have any questions about those minutes? All right. Seeing no hands on the screen here. Any hands? Do we have any hands? I don't see any hands. Okay. All right. Let's move on here. Let's see. Oh, is there any opportunity for the members of the public to comment on the meeting minutes?
Chair, members of the committee, we received there are no comments.
How about any online written comments on the MAG website?
We have received no comment.
No comments on the MAG website. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
Motion to approve from Tollison. George Good.
All right. Got a motion from George from Tollison. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Second from David from City of Mesa. All right. We have all those participating in the meeting online take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting your audio. We need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras at this time, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on those virtual participants who did not turn on their camera. All right, members, please leave on your camera until after the roll call vote so that staff can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. All right, members, leave on your cameras on. Staff, can you take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their cameras? Carolyn?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
All right, I think that is it. So the motion has been approved unanimously. We will then move on to agenda item number 5, which is the MAG Sub-Regional Mobility Managers Update. This item is on the agenda for information and will be presented by Dee Dee. Dee Dee, take it away.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. The utilization of sub-regional mobility managers is a strategy outlined in the MAG Human Services Coordination Transportation Plan. The goal is to enhance and promote regional coordination planning efforts in the region. The sub-regional mobility managers aid in the coordination of workshops and provide feedback on trainings and provide support for regional coordination strategies as outlined in our plan. MAG currently has 4 sub-regional mobility managers, has community liaisons in the East Valley, West Valley, Central Area, and South Central Valley. They are from various agencies, including the Centers of Rehabilitation, Chandler Gilbert ARC, Gompers, Scottsdale Training and Rehabilitation Services. We meet monthly with our sub-regional mobility managers to provide guidance and assist in planning of the future meetings and workshops. We will now hear from our sub-regional mobility managers. Next slide. And we will start with Dan Smoller. TCH, this is something new to our agenda item. We will have this as a standing agenda item for sub-regional mobility managers to have the opportunity to talk about their projects and provide the committee with updates on what they are working on. TCH was not able to provide an update at the last meeting, so I'd like to call upon Dan to provide an update today. Thank you, Dan.
That's great. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Dan Smoller. I am the Fleet and Facility Manager here at TCH. And for anybody who doesn't know about us, we work to support and empower individuals who live with developmental and physical disabilities. I've been here for about approximately 7 months now, and it's been really an incredibly rewarding experience coming from the corporate world. So working with Dawn on, kind of getting, kind of caught up on, what's going on with the fleet world and, kind of how we could, make our fleet better, kind of moving forward. So a few of the things that we're in the middle of doing, we actually have ongoing meetings with CAS, which is the Central Arizona Shelter Service. They're Arizona's largest and longest serving emergency shelter program for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Last year, they actually served more than 6,500 individuals and provided more than 230,000 nights of shelter. Nearly a third of those are seniors ages 55 and older. So we've been having ongoing meetings with them for to help them with their transportation needs as they're kind of trying to figure out a program over there. So just assisting them with some decision making and ideas for their needs to help them out in any way possible. We also just recently met with CertaPro. They're going to do some painting work with us from one of our group homes that's being renovated over the next few months. Kind of, my background is vendor management. So just bringing some more vendors into our world, understanding, some of the needs that we have here. So adding some auto glass vendors. We're looking into cobblestone car wash for monthly fleet cleanings. We're meeting with a bunch of different contractors that are all ADA compliant for any, work that we may need in the future. And really just attending as many industry and networking events that I possibly can. Dawn is going to be doing the upcoming compliance training in a few weeks. She's going to be touching on reimbursements, annual milestone reporting, compliance components, and Title VI. Dee or team, if you guys could think of anything that needs to be added to that or anything else that we should touch on, feel free to please let me know. But that's kind of what we have going on here at TCH these days.
Thank you, Dan. I will now call on Mark.
Dee, do you want to do questions from the committee if there's any, or do we want to do it all at the end?
We can do questions.
Yeah, let's do questions between each one. Is there any questions for Dan? All right, Dan, the only question I have is really kind of with CAS. So how much help do they really kind of need from you guys? Are they really kind of starting at the beginning?
You know what? Dawn has kind of been the spearhead on this, so I would kind of leave it up to her to kind of get you that information. But from what she had mentioned to me, they're kind of in the middle. They're not right at the beginning, but they don't have a kind of full-fledged program yet. So we're just trying to kind of help them out with, kind of the CMMS systems and, some of those types of things that we're currently doing over here.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. We will now hear from Mark Botterbosch from Gompers. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Just a couple announcements. The first one, Andrea Williams was the mobility manager at Gompers. She received a promotion and has moved on. So I'll step in temporarily or permanently, not sure yet. A couple things on our trainings. We have several workshops coming up. March 21st is session 1 of our transporting passengers with special needs. April 11th at 10 a.m. is then the second session of that same training. And then June 27th at 2 p.m. we have our de-escalation workshop scheduled. So we encourage everyone to join those. Those trainings continue to evolve, so it's not necessarily the same information every time. A couple of things in-house. We received some grant funding, and we're going to open a community center in our 27th Avenue location. Part of that community center is going to focus on aging issues with people with disabilities. A lot of times that gets overlooked and the focus is always the disability. So we'll have technology and devices and education on dealing with common aging issues with people with disabilities. Another thing is we're really looking for other ways to utilize our fleet. Largely, we use our vans in the morning and afternoon for program transportation. So we're looking for other opportunities, whether it's medical appointment transportation and things like that. So if you would know of anyone that could benefit from that, particularly in the central Phoenix area, definitely would be interested in those opportunities. And the last thing I have is reach out if we can be of a help as the mobility manager. I've always been one to use all of our resources, whether it's our facilities people with mechanical issues or our trainer. And we're more than happy to partner with anyone. We help several agencies with new fleets, their paperwork and tracking and things like that. So always willing to help in any way we can.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Any questions from Mark? All right. Mark, well, congratulate Andrea for us. And we hope to see much more of you. I think you did very well on that one. So you got my vote to stay on to be the mobility manager for Gompers, what I was saying. And then, Pete, I don't know if maybe you can follow up with him, talking about kind of like that central area to see if there's any type of resources out there we can kind of throw over Mark's way.
Thank you, Chair. We'll follow
All right.
up.
All right. Thanks again, Mark.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Billy Parker from Chandler Gilbert ARC. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee, and Dee Dee, and congratulations to Lauren too. If you could pass that on for me, I'd appreciate it. I just thought I would give a little bit of an update. In addition to doing sort of general support to transportation providers in the East Valley, I actually spoke to Nathan Williams in the town of Gilbert yesterday, just as an example of assisting people with finding resources for transportation in the East Valley. I also usually conduct 3 trainings throughout the year that are really meant as sort of guided discussions. I do one every year, just tips and ideas for people writing 5310 proposals, which is always is well attended and feels like it's been a good resource for applicants. So, when we do that training, we talk really about writing with clarity, making sure that the writing is sensible and defensible. There's continuity, specificity, and also to talk about the preventative maintenance and applying for preventative maintenance, and then also just interview tips when you do receive the interview. So that's one of the trainings. One of the other guided discussions I do is called It's a Moving Target. And that, again, as sort of like Mark mentioned as well, it's evolving all the time. And so just to give an example, the next one I have is actually in 2 weeks on the 25th. We're going to be talking about recruitment and retention, women in the workforce, DEI, pronouns in business, the Arizona legislature request to speak option, and then also vehicle sharing through vehicle disposals. So that's some of the stuff we work on. Project-wise, the disposal project is something that I've really put a lot of time into, and I see that Stephanie is on the call here too. And so Stephanie, thank you for your help with that. I appreciate it. I do another training called Let Me Out of This Box, and it's usually really meant as more of sort of a deeper dive into resource sharing, vehicle loaning, brokerage concepts, and then again, talking about the vehicle disposal process, which I feel like we've really kind of come a long way with that, and it's sort of still evolving. And we learned recently that the actual threshold has changed for that. So I've been in touch with Stephanie about that and have sort of incorporated some of that into the training that I'll be doing next week to make sure people stay informed. So, but that's about the nutshell of all the stuff that we work on in mobility management.
That is a lot, Billy. Any questions from the committee? Hey, Billy, how long have you been doing those tips and tricks on 5310? Is this the first go around, or have you been doing that for a while?
4 or 5 years, I think, Matt.
Okay. You know what I've noticed too, honestly, I think the quality of the 5310 applications over the last couple of years have improved. So Billy, I'm going to count that because of you. And that
Well,
yeah.
thank you, and thank you for attending it too, Matt. I really appreciate it. It was good to have you in the audience for that one.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to, this is Dan Small. I just wanted to say as a new member of MAC here that Billy's been super, super helpful. So really appreciate everything you do, Billy.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next sub-regional mobility manager will be Justin McGregor from STARS. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Dee Dee. So STARS will be hosting the PASS training in April. We're looking forward to that. I have a good continuation of preventive maintenance training going on throughout the year, as well as driver safety training. I'm also working on a new training that I'm in development. Just during the recent grant cycle, I had a lot of agencies that are first-time agencies submitting grants, and they reached out to me for fleet program setup information. So I'm creating a new training, the fleet program setup training for individuals who don't have a system already set up, that need the tools and information to start with to get their program from ground up. So I'm looking forward to getting that out here soon. That way, individuals who have nothing to start with have a place to start.
All right. Thank you, Justin. And I know, I think STARS is one of the only ones who has kind of any really PASS trainers, right? Are we kind of low on PASS trainers in the region?
Yes, I believe, well, STARS is assisting with PASS training. We are happy to note that Lauren is a certified PASS trainer, and she is actually the second in the state that provides regional PASS training. She will continue to the end of the year in the PASS training. So.
All right. Well, you need to teach somebody else for PASS training. All right. Any questions for Justin? All right. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Our sub-regional mobility managers are such a great resource. We encourage you to reach out to them if you have any questions or need assistance. This concludes our updates. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Dee Dee. All right. What have we received any public or online comments?
We have received no comments.
No comments.
And this item was for information and discussion. Next slide. If you would like any more information, I will be the contact for sub-regional mobility managers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dee Dee. All right. We will move on to agenda item number 6, review of the fiscal year 2025 5310 FTA Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disability Program for the regional evaluation process. So this item is on the agenda for information and will be presented by Dee Dee. Go ahead, Dee Dee.
Thank you, Chair and member of the committee. We greatly appreciate your support for this really important process and providing assistance for older adults and persons with disabilities. We continue your continued support as we move forward with the evaluation process. Next slide. I will provide an overview of the 5310 program, allocation and funding requirements, outcome of the internal 2-week review, and the regional evaluation process and timeline. Thank you. Next slide. The Section 5310 program is a competitive awards program that provides funding to eligible applicants to support transportation services that meet the needs of older adults and persons with disability when public transportation is insufficient, inappropriate, or unavailable. Eligible applicants are private nonprofit organizations, public agencies where no viable private nonprofit organizations, and tribal governments. The eligible populations are agencies serving older adults age 65 and over, and agencies serving persons with disability. I'll provide further information on the funding requirements. Thank you. Next slide. I did want to review ADOT's 5310 application process for the urban and rural area. They are on a 2-year cycle at this time. The application closed for their process on March the 7th, and they are going through their internal review. They will be utilizing statewide regional mobility managers to review the applications. I did receive information a couple of days ago. We do have one agency applying in our MAG planning area through the ADOT process, and that is the town of Florence. So thank you. Next slide. And another update, I just want to remind the committee that the eligible areas for our process this year is the Phoenix Mesa, Scottsdale urban area, and the Phoenix West, Goodyear, Avondale urban area. Those are the regions in the blue and the dark sand color. All of the other areas in the state of Arizona, the 5310 application process is coordinated through the Arizona Department of Transportation. Next slide. So 5310 is a formula funded program. The formula is based on the number of older adults and people with disabilities in each state according to the latest available U.S. Census data. As our chair had mentioned previously, it is a complicated formula. It is not, it's not a comparison of the population in the state. It is a comparison of the population on a national level. Allocated to designated recipients based on this percentages. Large urban areas are 200,000 in population. They receive 60% of the funding. Small urbanized area under 200,000 in population, but not over 50,000, receive 20% of the allocation for the state, and rural areas receive 20%. Next slide. Funding requirements. FTA does have funding requirements. Not less than 55% of the total apportioned to our region are to go to traditional capital request. For our regional process, we do 60% to ensure that we meet that 55%. Especially with the capital project requests are mostly vehicles, and we want to ensure that we do not award half a vehicle. We want to award a full vehicle. 40% to other capital and operation, and less than 10% administration. The federal share is 80% or 85% if it is an 80A capital request for traditional capital projects. The federal share is 50% for other capital and operating projects. And the federal share is 90% for accessible equipment projects. Thank you. The estimated funding for the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area, we did receive partial apportionments. We did check with Wendy Miller, who is the program manager for the TIP, and Patrick, and the estimated apportionments for our area is around 6 million. Estimated funding for the Phoenix West, Goodyear, Avondale area is 490,000. The MAG EPT committee serves as a technical committee to develop the priority listing of projects for the region where we will utilize to draw down the apportionments for our region. The priority listing of projects is to be utilized when FTA provides final apportionments are released. Thank you. Next slide. So I just wanted to review what the application process to this point. We did hold, as Billy had mentioned, Billy Parker, there was a sub-regional mobility manager question and answer workshop. This was more of a peer one-on-one where agencies came in to ask Billy, who is an applicant of 5310, questions, their comments and feedback. We'd like to thank Chair Dudley for attending that meeting that was held on January the 15th. We did, MAG and the City of Phoenix as a designated recipient held a proposal assistant workshop on January the 28th. MAG and the City of Phoenix also held technical assistance 2 days in February 4th and 5th, where we sat down with potential applicants to answer any questions they had on their project request or the eligibility of their project that they were requesting. Applications were due February the 24th. MAG and the City of Phoenix staff then conducted a 2-week internal review from February the 25th to March the 10th. Thank you. Next slide. So MAG is a programming agency and the city of Phoenix is a designated recipient. We did conduct a 2-week internal review process. We reviewed all applications submitted on the completeness, meeting federal eligibility and regional criteria. MAG staff contacted applicants for clarification only on items submitted in the application. 3 new agencies did apply. We did have the city of Peoria, Train 'em Up Ministries, and Westminster Village. Thank you. Next slide. An overview of the parameters of the request is the capital request. We're limited to 5 vehicles. As I noted, the 2-week internal process included Phoenix staff to review the balance and of unexpected grant funds. MAG staff reviewed applicants' coordination activities. There was a 2-year waiting period for applicants who returned awarded vehicles back into the program to apply for vehicles. So we did note that during our 2-week internal technical assistance. Applicants scoring below 70% will not be recommended to move forward for awarding. FDA has recommended not moving forward and applicants' requests with unexpended funding until past expenditures are spent down. We also provided that information when MAG and City of Phoenix conducted our technical assistance. Next slide. So the results of the review. Applicants have responded to staff requests for clarification items. Project requests meet federal eligibility and regional criteria threshold. Applications are complete with required supplemental materials. Phoenix did review funding balances on past contracts and as I noted, MAG reviewed coordination best practices efforts. And we provided those points on the evaluation process. All applications are eligible to move forward for evaluation. Next slide. An overview of those applications submitted for the Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale area were that 25 agencies applied with 39 project requests. We did have 8 vehicle requests for 27 vehicles, 12 preventive maintenance requests, which keeps increasing every year on preventive maintenance, 1 equipment request, and 4 mobility managers position requests. We did have 14 operating project requests. We are the project request was at 5.7 million. We do include the 10% administration fee and is estimated our federal apportionment is at 6 million. So we're very close and what we're allocated, our apportionments and the project request. For the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale area, 3 agencies applied for 5 project requests. We have 1 vehicle request for 3 vehicles, 1 preventive maintenance request. New this year, we have 1 mobility manager's position request for the Phoenix West area. We have 2 operating project requests. The federal request came out to over 528,000. Of our estimated apportionment, 10% does go to administration. Our estimated apportionment, Phoenix Goodyear Avondale area is 490,982. Thank you. So we're at the point that oh, Lindsay.
Lindsay, you got a question?
If I may, Mr. Chair. I just wonder if there are any agencies, and that's harkening back to my experience with ADOT doing this process. Are there any of the agencies who operate on what you would call the boundary between both zones that you have to like do a prorated amount to? Did that occur this time?
Chair, members of the committee, We did review the service area maps, which will be provided in your applicant folder. And we did review and we made sure that of those agencies applying in either region, 51% of their services would make them eligible to either apply in the Phoenix Mesa Goodyear area or the Phoenix West area.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, members of the committee? I will move forward and I will review the evaluation timeline at this time. We are at the, as I noted, we have concluded our 2-week internal review. We are at the point where we are having our committee meeting that we will distribute the applications and we will provide training on the evaluation process. Also important committee timelines or dates to review is the EPD committee does have an opportunity to ask questions regarding the applicant's application. And I would just also like to reiterate, these are only questions, you can ask questions only on the application that has been submitted. You can submit your questions to MAG staff, me, on April the 7th in the business day. The committee will receive applicants' response on Monday the 14th. We provide that kind of leeway to provide you the opportunity, if you need so, to take those responses into the consideration when you forward your preliminary scores. The preliminary scores are due to MAG on Thursday, April 17th at 1 p.m. And then the applicant interviews will take place on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 22nd and 23rd. This is an opportunity for those who've submitted project requests to come in and provide a brief detail of the project request and their agency. This also provides time, if there's available time, for the committee to ask any additional questions regarding the applicant's request. At this point, I would like to now review what is in your applicant, what is in your evaluation packet. This will be forwarded out after the committee meeting, and we will provide a link to a OneShare so you can open the document. And in that OneShare link, you will provide, you will find that we have a folder for all of the applications that are submitted with all of the supplemental materials, the application itself, for both the Phoenix Mesa Goodyear, Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale area and the Phoenix West area. I just want to remind the committee that MAG staff has reviewed all the supplemental materials. You don't have to review all of that. We have ensured that they have provided all of that information to us. Also, to help with your scoring, we provide maps to the committee, and we provide an overview of agencies that applied for capital request in each of the regions for capital request and the operating. It is an overlay of the map that we provide for your information. We also provide a couple of other demographic maps for your information. They are minority populations with the 5310 program agencies that applied. We also provide a map of population of age 65 and older. And we provide a map with population in poverty, just for your consideration while you do the evaluation of the applications. Also located in the map, in the folder, will be the subrecipient participation matrix. This is only for your information also. Just to give you an overview, we provide information on a spreadsheet of the agencies who participated in transportation ambassador program meetings, workshops, and provided information for the provider services. We also provide you information on, and this was requested previously, we provide you information on coordination efforts that is an application of the applicants when they answer the question, what are you doing to further your coordination efforts? We provide you 3 years of that, starting from the last application submitted, just to provide you some information on if they are moving forward with those coordination efforts. Also, just for your consideration while you do your evaluation process. Also in the folder will be your question and answer matrix. If we can open that up. It is similar. It's exactly the same from last year. We provide an information sheet on the first page of how to fill out the Excel spreadsheet. And then we provide you a spreadsheet on tabs to submit your scores and your questions for the applicants. You will see that we did provide the date of when things are due for your information. And the most important thing in the folder before you start your evaluation process is if you can sign your confidentiality agreement. If you can sign that prior to evaluation and submit that back to us, we provide it in a Word document and a PDF form for you. If you have any applications that you may have a conflict of interest, you can note it on that form itself. And a conflict of interest is when a committee member would have a vested financial interest in that one application. This does not include those that have a regional benefit. Okay. Any questions on what is in the folder at this time? All right. And I would just like to review at the timeline once again. We the committee questions are to be submitted to MAC staff on Monday, April the 7th by end of business. The committee will receive the applicant responses on April the 14th by 1 o'clock. And your preliminary scores are due to MAC staff on April the 17th. Again, all of these dates are notated on your spreadsheet for your scores and your committee questions. And then we will have the 2-day internal review process. Next slide. The regional recommendation approval process. The MAG EPD committee will develop the priority listing that will move forward through the MAG committee process. It will go through the MAG transit committee for recommendation of approval. It next will go through the MAG transportation review committee for recommendation of approval, and then to the MAG management committee for recommendation of approval. And then it will go to the MAG regional council, and MAG management committee and regional council are in June, and it will go to the regional council for recommendation for approval. So MAG regional council provides the approval to submit our priority listing to the city of Phoenix to develop the consolidated 5310 application priority listing of awards to FTA to award. This item is for information and discussion.
All right, anyone? Questions from anybody? See anything? I don't think I see any questions.
I don't necessarily have a question, just a word of caution to my fellow members here. I was being I don't know what the word is. I'll just use lazy as the word. But for submitting questions, I let myself wait until the very end, and then I submitted them to poor Dee Dee at the end of my business day, which was probably like 7 o'clock at night. And Dee Dee was like, we had a timeline on this. And so I don't want to, I felt bad about impacting you all. And so I just want to caution you, don't be like Lindsay. Get your questions in when you can.
And don't be like Matt, who was exactly like Lindsay on several occasions over the years. I think as I start writing down those questions, I also, instead of waiting till the end, start sending some of those questions over to you guys early so you can kind of get them out and about a lot earlier instead of, poor Dee Dee saying, here you go, Dee Dee, please ask these 20 questions.
Chair, members of the committee, Lindsay, thank you for that comment. Definitely, we want to ensure that we get all of the questions together so that we can forward it to you in a timely manner. But it does make it a little easier when the questions are submitted by 5, which is our end of business. But thank you.
Yeah. Dee Dee also mentioned, okay, so it's very important. So when everybody gets off, so I'll do it when I get back to the office, is definitely open up that confidentiality agreement and sign it and send it over, because it's easy to forget. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Definitely. If you can sign the confidentiality agreement prior to looking at the applications, we greatly appreciate that.
And then when it comes to this slide deck, was this sent out via email? I think it helps, especially for like the new members, because what I've found out, especially over the years, and I get it too here in Avondale, and other cities will actually call, especially about like the funding agreement, the funding requirements, and the overview of the process. I think it's very important because sometimes those questions will pop up, probably not now, but I know they'll pop up when it starts going through the committee process. So I want to definitely make sure everybody's kind of very well aware of how this kind of works. They'll say, oh, how does this funding work? And I think with that information on that slide deck earlier, I think that'll help a lot, that we can kind of pull it up as, the city subject matter experts on this. I think that'll help a lot too. And then I think as we go through the committee process, sometimes it's on consent, sometimes it's an action item. Questions will pop up then too. So I think it's important to put both like that funding requirement slide and the overview slide on that presentation, because those questions will then pop up. And I think if they see that, that may answer some of their questions about, hey, how much funding got to, my urbanized area? How's that broken up? That 60% question comes up a lot. You said 55%, but you're going for 60%. Yes, because we don't want to fund like half a cutaway or half a minivan. We want to make sure that we have enough flexibility on that one to add that additional funding in there to kind of cover up with that. I know probably some of you are thinking, because I definitely was thinking of it, but hey, it seems like we got enough money this year to, why are we going to go through this evaluation process? So, but again, one of the things that Dee Dee kind of mentioned earlier was that 70% threshold. Just because everybody could potentially apply for it doesn't necessarily mean that they have a really good application to do that. So definitely make sure that we're not pencil whipping this, that you look and make sure that these applicants are good and that they are meeting the 70% threshold. And I will get off my soapbox on that one because I see Nancy has raised her hand. Go ahead, Nancy.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Just a quick question. I too just want to piggyback on what you were saying about sending over the slide deck, but if we could also send over a meeting notification for our calendars for those interview dates. I can't remember if they're all day, one full day, one half a day. I just don't want to miss those, and I want to make sure they get on my calendar.
Good point, because actually I think I saw the 22nd on mine. I did not see the 23rd, which is usually kind of like a half day, I think, for the most part. But yeah, definitely we'll make sure that gets out to everybody.
Thanks.
All right. Dee Dee, you also mentioned about Usually there's several regional applications that go in there that kind of benefit the whole region. So for instance, probably, and again, I don't know who's applied yet, like Valley Metro usually does travel training. Regional benefit, don't necessarily need to say that you have a conflict of interest on that. Valley Metro usually also does ride choice, other types like that, usually for East Valley and West Valley. So for instance, we'll say Avondale, I'll use myself as an example. If they apply for ride choice, but includes several cities in that sub-region, do I have a conflict of interest or do I not have a conflict of interest?
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. That is a really great question and a comment that we've heard. And I have to say, Justin, Valley Metro has done a really good job at separating East Valley public alternative transportation applications and West Valley. So if you are in East Valley and in the application, it lists the cities that that they are submitting an application on behalf of, it will be noted. And in the past, we have contacted a couple of committee members and, after we read the application and say, this might be, so we will notify you if you would need to recuse yourself from viewing the application. But it is separated. You are correct. A travel training, as an example, would be a regional benefit and everybody can apply for that. But definitely reach out to, I was going to say Mac staff, but that would be me. If you have any questions, we can help and walk you through it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Seeing none. TD, have we received any written and or online comments for this particular item?
Chair, members of the committee, we have not received any comments.
All right. Since this is just for information and discussion, we will then proceed on to agenda item number 7. And that is request for future agenda items. Are there any requests from the membership for an item on a future agenda?
Mr. Chair, I do have, City of Tempe will have our new class, so to speak, of our own grant that we provide to Tempe agencies who provide the same service that we're discussing here today. So that application process has completed and we've completed our scoring. So next meeting, I'll have some information to report out on if I could.
Excellent. Definitely. I'd love to hear that. All right. Anybody else? All right. Let's move on to agenda item number 8. Comments from the committee. Anybody have comments or announcements? All right. Seeing none, because I know you guys are all excited to jump into those applications and get them graded and reviewed. All right. Seeing none, that was just for information. So now we'll move on to adjournment. So the next meeting of the Elderly and Persons with Disabilities Transportation Committee will be that 2-day applicant interview on Tuesday, April 2nd and the 23rd at 9 a.m. 22nd is going to be obviously a full day. 23rd is usually kind of a half day. Starts promptly at 9 a.m. You're all invited to come down here to MAG if you want, because I'm sure MAG will provide a beautiful lunch for us. If you want to come down here and join me. So with no further business, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.